Since I began playing Roblox, I always dreamed of making my own game and becoming a successful developer. Every time I tried, I failed. When I started watching videos about making Roblox games, I was only 10. People said I needed to learn scripting, modeling, make good graphics, and even pay for advertising. I was overwhelmed, so I put my dream on hold because I didn't feel ready for the challenge. Okay, so here's my idea for the game. There will be a grid of blocks that are randomly colored. Then there is a chosen color. Let's say the chosen color is red. So that means all the blocks that aren't red will disappear. So the players have to get to the right color in time, which is obviously my own very original idea. Anyways, let's get to work. First, I started off with building the grid because that's the easiest part. I decided on a 6x6 grid and put a checker pattern so it was easier to differentiate the parts. Now it was time to write the first script, changing the colors of each part of the grid to a random color. Except I had no clue how to script it. So I pulled up Roblox's AI to help. I tested the script and it worked. The parts changed color. The next step was to make the script choose a random part and make that part's color the chosen color. Then make the other parts disappear. After about a minute of figuring it out, I tested the script and it worked with no errors. Until I made the script loop itself. But it was okay because I knew how to fix it. I identified the error and made changes to the script. Instead of deleting the parts, I made them invisible using transparency setting. That did the trick. So the next step was to make a GUI that shows what the chosen color is so that players can move to the correctly colored block. To do this, I had to find a way to send the color from the server to the client in order to update the client's GUI. After some research, I found out you can use color 3 values in replicated storage that both the server and client can access. So I implemented that into the server script and then went to the AI to write me a script on the client side to update the GUI's color every time the color 3 value in replicated storage changed. I copy and pasted it into my game, played it, and it worked. The problem with the current system is that it picks random RGB values to make the colors, and that means there could be colors with slightly different shades. Take these two different shades of red, for example. Can you tell that they are different shades? No. Which is why I want the game script to only randomize specific colors from a table. So I went to the AI again for help. After it generated the script, I went back to Studio and pasted it in. I play tested the new script and it worked exactly like I wanted it to. The next step was to add more colors, since there was no variety. Since there are more colors now, I wanted each color to only be assigned to 2 parts at most in order to have more variety. I asked ChatGPT and it didn't disappoint. The script worked perfectly. Now it was time to create the GUI just like the one in color block. Here's a quick time lapse of that. The GUI was finished and it was looking good. Next, I spent about 5 minutes scripting the GUI to show the timer and chosen color. Things were going pretty well, but I wasn't done just yet. I wanted to put the color name on the GUI just like how I designed it. However, I had no idea how, so once again I went to the AI for help. This took way longer than expected. I really thought it was going to be a simple process. Anyways, what you're looking at is 25 frustrating minutes on figuring out the system to display the name of the color of the GUI. But after I finished it, the feeling was so rewarding. The game was running so well and the GUI was working just how I wanted it to. It was a last player standing game, so I had to figure out a way to keep track of the players who were dead or alive. That was when I remembered one of the first Roblox games I played, Jailbreak. They used teams to keep track of the police, prisoners, and criminals. So I figured I could do the same thing with players playing or in the lobby, otherwise dead. Now that I had an idea on how to create this last person standing system, I got to work. And let me tell you, it took way longer than it should have. I can't believe I spent so much time with Roblox's AI generating scripts that never worked. The moment I used a script from ChatGPT, the team system worked flawlessly. By the way, if you notice the GUI at the bottom of the screen, it's there because I worked on the round system in between making the team system because of how frustrating it was to get the teams working. However, I wanted to keep this part of the video to just the team system, so I'll show you how I did that later. After all of that, it was so nice to see all of the difficult parts of the game done. Now I had to work on the round system, which I had done before, so I had a rough idea on how to do it. Let's get straight to creating the GUI first. I wanted it to be a simple text label that would display all the game info. So here's a time lapse of me making that GUI. As I recall the time I spent working on the round system, it wasn't that hard because of my past experience with Roblox Studio, as I mentioned earlier. Every script that I asked ChatGPT to generate for me worked perfectly like I wanted, and I ran into a little to no errors in the process. The round system was done and it felt great. That basically meant the scripting part of the whole game was complete. It made me wonder if Roblox developing was right for me. I wanted to prove it with this game. I wanted to be just like those great devs out there. But there is still more to go, the building part. And as far as I know, I suck at building. But it was okay, since my main goal of this game was to script it, and that part had already been achieved. Anyways, the building process did not take long at all because I didn't do anything fancy. I just put a sort of blocky ring around the grid of players to spectate. After I finished adding the textures, I was done. At last, my game was complete. It made me think about how far I went into this game. Before, when I wanted to make a game, I always failed, but to think this time would be different. It was an amazing feeling.